Hello guys, I actually just did a video on my 5-gallon tank, just an update regarding it, and I decided, hey, why not just do another video, an update on the grow tent. My 6-month-old son is sleeping, my 2 girls are watching their iPads, so basically I have free time. Anyway, another reason is I have 101 subscribers, so I'm thankful for that. And since it's just officially summer, I do a summer update on the tent because I did a spring update. And honestly, I wasn't really noting when summer starts because here in Texas it's really hot, and I felt it was summer since spring. Yeah, let's go ahead. Just a quick overview, especially for the new subscribers about this tent. This is a Vivo Sun triangular tent. What I love about this tent is it's got a huge viewing window. I'll show you right now. Basically, this is the okay, let me pause this real quick. So basically, yeah, so it has a huge viewing window. This is clear plastic, tough plastic, very clear. And the main reason why this is what I chose is because of this feature. I want to see my plants. Okay, a lot of people grow or use grow tents. Basically, I think the grow tent market has grown because of the cannabis growers, but in my case I don't need the light enclosed. I want to see the plants, so yeah, and it's really nice. And let me roll it down. I'll pause this again, guys. So I folded up the viewing window and I turned off the light because I want you guys to see the type of light I have in here. This is a Mars Hydro SP150, a very strong light. I mean, for what I need, it's very strong. It gets warm, which is great because it balances the temperature in the tent. Basically, I have some orchids that also needs a bit warm temperature. So I can show you guys here. It's around 84 Fahrenheit at this height. It can go up to 86. The only issue that I have with this is it doesn't have a on or off switch, so it goes directly to the power source, and it doesn't have a dimmer. So what I'm having issues with is that the plants that are closer to it, like this wandering juice, are getting burnt, and that's the main reason why I put them there, because I don't want direct light to hit the orchids that you can see here. And look at the bromelia, they're really colored well because of the strong light. So basically, this would be perfect in a bigger tent, which I eventually in the future I might go for because my collection is getting bigger, but that's for another video. So it gets warm. My other method, my method of controlling the temperature is there's a vent there, and I have this AC Infinity USB fans. It draws air out, and then I have another. This one is connected, so they're connected already. So this one brings air in, and so fresh air in, and this one fresh air out. What's really nice is they have control from low, medium, and high output, and they're just in, I guess, low or medium. I was testing this tent like for 2 weeks before I added the plants, and I figured like the stronger, the more power, the stronger the setting is, it draws the humidity down really fast. So it's just in low. And then I have another set of AC Infinity fans. This one is connected to this one. So basically this is just for air circulation, and so far they're doing a great job. They're just in the low setting. Let me see, the controls are out here. They're actually in the medium settings. Let me check the other one here. yeah, medium actually. They're in medium setting, and they're on a timer. Basically, I turn them off in intervals, maybe a total of maybe 3 hours in a 24-hour cycle. And the reason being is I don't want to wear them out, so I give them this fans a time to rest in a way, because I don't want them to wear them out real quick and maybe overheat them. So they may get around 3 hours of rest in a day, or they'll turn off for 3 hours in a day, but that's intermittent. Maybe 30 minutes in the morning, 45 minutes in the afternoon, and in the evening a few minutes, so like a few hours. So and then I'm sorry, I'm trying to get my thoughts together. And then early morning, maybe around 3 to 5, they're turned off, and they're really doing well. One of the things that I've learned, or when I was researching about, I'll go ahead with that thought in my head before I forget. So one of the things I learned researching about orchids, about Nepenthes, or anything that requires high humidity, they need to have good airflow, and to prevent water from staying on the leaves for too long, letting the plants a chance to dry out. To prevent mold, fungus, root rot, and all that stuff. And one of my concerns when I started this is it might not be enough. But so far, I never had any problems with some mold. I have like a slight one, but I just sprayed it with neem oil, and it's just one pot in one of those pots down there, and it never came back. But anyway, for the rest, never had any problems. The plants are actually doing really well, and I'll show you guys in a bit. But basically, this is the setup for the fence, and then I have 2 humidifiers here. Easily can be bought from Amazon. This one is kind of one of those rare humidifiers that has an extension tube. I'm glad they made this, because I can find one before, and finally when I found the manufacturer in Amazon, I bought one, and they're actually cheaper now because I think that there is more demand, and this one is able to humidify this part here, which is great. They're connected to this Inkbird hydrostat or humidistat, and just the setup is around, I set it up for 75% humidity, and that's the probe. So, and I've set it up to go down. So 75% humidity, I set it up to go down to 63% before it turns on again. So there's a differential, which is great, because if not, this will just keep turning on until all the rainwater that I use runs out. So I just use rainwater. I don't want to use RO water. I don't want to set up an RO water system because there's too much waste, and rainwater is free. I just use a Brita to filter the gunk out. So far so good, but basically I love this Inkbird because it has a differential wherein it lets it go down for a little bit before. You can set it up. You can set it up to let the humidity go down before it turns on again. And so far it says here the humidity. I'll just turn on the light real quick. Alright, I just turned on the light, and the humidity is 76%. It was actually 95% before I opened the tent. Temperature is 74. Usually it's around 69 to 72. This spring summer, it averages between 70 to 71 here. Alright, so yeah, I'll start with the update on the plants. I'll start from up here. So this will be all the plants in here. Alright, so this one is the Dendrobium Janskii. That is the from Andy's Orchids. I bought this plant because according to the description, it's free flowering throughout the year. Never flowered for me yet. I think for Dendrobium they have specific conditions. I think a lot of light, and then some drop in the temperature, but we'll see. But it has amazing growth for me. So before, the plant was just this part here in the front, but now it's moving at the back part of this driftwood, and you can see all those roots. I water this every other day, and it's looking nice. So yeah, it hasn't flowered. It has nice yellow flowers that I've seen. A great resource would be Rogers Orchids. I think it's based in the UK. He's got a lot of information regarding orchids, and he's actually shown this specific orchid, and what he has is like it has overgrown its mount. So yeah, the Dendrobium jenskii. Alright, next is the Bulbophyllum lasiochyllum. I chose this plant, or I bought this plant because it says that it's also what do you call this? It's also free flowering throughout the year, but it hasn't flowered for me yet. But as you can see, this is from Andy's Orchids. This is one of the few plants I have bought. So it's like 6 months, maybe 8 months now with me. 6 months with me now. More than 6. But you can see all those moss that it came with established on the mount. It is really cool. I've taken a part of it here, and I've actually grown that moss. It's in one of my moss videos. But this plant, I've never had any issues, except of course for the flowering. It just keeps on growing bulbs, throwing out roots. So what I actually did, this one was like hanging all the way down here. I cut it off and put that part here. I actually used a like a brown rope-like thing from Walmart, and I just tied it down there. But next time I'll be using the fishing line, because this one looks like it's started to rot, but I hope that the roots have already established themselves. But online, if you do your research, they say it's very easy grower plant and like blooms all the time, but it hasn't for me. So I'm thinking let it just grow more bulbs, and maybe it will start to bloom for me. So that's the Bulbophyllum lasiochyllum. Alright guys, so the next one is this Neophoenicia, let's see here, Falcata Omansekai from Andy's Orchids also. It's a I think they included it in the Vanda family. It's a miniature one from Japan. From what I read in the history, it's considered as like a luxury before in ancient times, and it costs a lot, like even the cost of a home. I don't know if that's a exaggeration, but I'm glad that a lot of people are able to propagate it. Of course, Andy's Orchid has done that. When this came in, doesn't have this dry sphagnum moss, but it's covered in this moss here. It's very well established. That's why I love buying orchids from Andy's Orchids, because a lot of these orchids have established moss. But yeah, this is the Neophoenicia falcata, growing really well for me. I think when I started, I have 2 plants here, 1 and 2, and now I have a keiki over here. So just growing. It loves the warmth provided by the Mars Hydro. It's a strong light, and it's throwing out a lot of these roots here. So according to Andy's Orchids, it's free flowering all throughout the year and hasn't flowered for me. Yeah, let's just wait. Hopefully it's able to get the conditions it wants. Lots of growth this summer, maybe this coming winter, because in some websites they say it's like sort of like a winter to spring flower. It flowers during those times, so maybe. This is one of the bromeliads that I've ordered from Josh's Frogs. Really nice color. Before it's just in a mesh pot, but I decided to put it in an enclosed pot because it dries out real quick. And I mean, it's growing, it's thriving, I guess, but I think it's better to be in an enclosed pot so it doesn't dry too quickly. Next would be this Ascocentrum miniatum. I'm sorry for my handwriting. And this one is from Orchids by Hauserman. It came in a small 2-inch pot, or maybe a 1-inch pot, but I transferred it in this mesh pot, and I just used I'm using red lava rock and the orchid bark that it came with, yeah, this guy has been growing really well. It's got a keiki over there. I won't be removing keikis. I'll let this guy grow in. From what I've seen online, this guy is really beautiful. It's a miniature Vanda also, including the Vanda family, but it's in the Ascocentrum genus, and it does look like a Vanda with this type of growth, the same with the Neo-Phoenicia. But the more keikis it has, and then the flower, it's very beautiful. I've seen the flowers online. I suggest you guys take a look, and you will fall in love with this plant. I'm glad I was able to find one. The one over at Andes Orchid is the Karai, and from what I've read and from what Andes Orchid has also described, is it's always been mistaken for the miniatum, but apparently the one in Hauserman, it is the miniatum, because they also have the Karai. So they have the Karai and the miniatum. Both has the same colored flowers. I guess there's some slight differences, but this is more of the more dwarf or miniature one. So this is the one I decided to get, and then it's growing really well. I water it every other week. I trench it. I let it like flow out, but just like a Vanda, from what I've read, it wants to dry out. And at first I was scared about this plant because amongst my order this is the smallest one, but it liked the conditions, and now it's growing out a lot of roots there, as you can see, and I'm pretty sure within that media, within that lava rock, there's more roots. So yeah, this is the Ascocentrum miniatum, so really nice. The second one in the same genus is this Ascocentrum hendersonianum, also known as Diaca hendersonianum in Andes Orchids. That's what he calls it, the Kia. I'm sorry, I'm not sure if I even pronounced it correctly. So just like the miniatum, this was bought from Hauserman, and they said these are seedlings that will take 2 to 3 years before they bloom. But guess what? This is starting to bloom. The spike came out maybe 2 months ago. I watched a video, I forgot who that person or who that was, but he owns an orchid nursery also, and he showed this, and he said that the spike takes a long time to form the actual bloom. Yeah, it has this salmon pink blooms on the way. And look at this growth. I mean, I love this plant. It loved the conditions I gave it. This is the first time I had Ascocentrum, and I mean, it's loving it in this spot here. Maybe if it's 86 Fahrenheit up there, maybe down here it's maybe around 80 to 83 maybe, but it likes it. It likes the humidity, and you can see all those roots growing in. I put those sphagnum moss. It came in with a little bit of, actually no sphagnum moss, but I put it in between the roots, and then I had a fishing line and just place it there. And yeah, every other day I water this, and I just let it dry in between. And you can see, too loud. Sorry, that's my daughter, because my son is sleeping. I don't want him to wake up. Anyway. So yeah, so 2 to 3 years before they bloom, but now they're starting to bloom. So I'm wondering if they made an error and gave me a more mature plant, or it just loves the conditions and it decided to just bloom for me. Either way, I'm happy. I'll make a separate video when this actually fully blooms. Beside it is the This is a Bulbophyllum Blumei. It's a keiki from the mother plant, and I'll show you guys that plant in a bit. But this one, I thought this will pass, this will die. It has this one bulb, it grew, and I didn't thrive, didn't grow at all. And then one day I saw this come out, and now it's loving it. It just keeps growing. So yeah, I'll talk about it more about it when we get to the mother plant. And then up here is the Dendrobium secundum from Andy's Orchids. There, let's see. Yeah, there, Dendrobium secundum. All right, so this is what they call the toothbrush orchid. According to the description, it's a free-flowering plant. Since I got it, it never flowered yet, but it has, basically when it came in, it has only this and only this growth here and this two down here. Sorry, so this growth here and this one, and now it has two new growth. So this loves the warmth. It's in a big mount. When Andy's Orchid sent it, big mount, and then it's on sphagnum moss. I just added more sphagnum moss. I use fishing line, and then I have an explosion of roots, like new roots here. There's a lot of new roots. That's a new root. Down here also it went it went through the wood, so all those are new roots, and also new roots here. It's considered a deciduous orchid, so it needs a winter rest. I think last fall I was kind of behind in giving it the winter rest, so I guess this time I need to do it on, like, give it more time to go through the winter rest, and maybe it will flower. But again, according to Andy's Orchids, it's a free flowering plant, so I don't know, maybe they've got better conditions. I mean, they're the experts. I mean, they've been doing this a long time. And then another bromeliad from Dross's Frogs, another one that I've potted in an enclosed pot. Really nice colors. I don't know what it is. It's a no ID one. And then going back down here, this is the Masdevallia Wendlandiana. This one, I did a repot video. It was on a mount. It just dries too fast. I mean, and then I tried to put some like sphagnum moss, like what I did with this Hendersonianum, but it doesn't look happy. So I decided to repot it, put it in a mesh pot, more sphagnum moss, and since then I've been getting more consistent growth. So see, there's two new leaves growing, and actually this is a keiki. This is a keiki. This is the main plant, and this is a keiki. So it's loving it. It actually threw out a bloom early on, like a month after receiving it. It threw out a bloom, maybe because at the time it was really cool. It was like January or February. It threw out a very nice bloom. Another good resource is Cloud Forest Vibes. He has this, and it keeps on flowering for him non-stop. So I guess for me it is a bit warm here. According to online, according to Andy's Orchids, a lot of research I did, it's a warm, what do you call this, it's one of those few Masdevallias that can live in warm temperatures or thrive there. So I place it here. It's not, I would consider in this area of the grow tent would be intermediate, maybe in the upper 70s or mid 70s. But I'm happy. It's always damp. It doesn't, it's one of it's a from a cloud forest in Ecuador, and it needs to be damp all the time, not soggy but damp. So hopefully it recovers and more roots come out and bloom for me. This orchid is also from Hauserman. This is I bought this from with the ascocentrums, but basically I bought 3 from this genus. It's the Arangus genus. So 1, 2, and then the third one is right here. So basically these are all seedlings 2 to 3 years from blooming, according to the website from Hauserman. And these genus are from Africa, and this specific one is the Arangus luteolba varvodostica. It has really nice white flowers with an orange center. So I don't know what I forgot the correct term, but basically this just came in a on this wood. Doesn't have sphagnum moss, or doesn't really have sphagnum moss, so I just put a little bit there, use fishing line, and also there, and you can see this one is an old root, so I just put the sphagnum moss underneath it. But this one is new. Look at how big that new root is. Look at that. It loves this spot. It's warm and get lots of humidity from my humidifier that has an extension tube, and the roots went all the way up here, and those are new. So this plant has also growing really well for me, and very happy about this. And this one is the Arangus mysticidi, something like that. Yep, Arangus mysticidi. So actually, this is the plant that I wanted. I first saw it in Andy's Orchids. Really nice white flowers, a miniature. I think I realized I like the Vanda looking growth. I mean, Arangus are not included in the Vanda family, but it looks similar the way they grow. But basically, when I was searching for this, it's not available at the time in Andy's Orchids, and then I checked Orchids by Hauserman, and he's got all 3. So it was so cool they got it, and I bought it, and it has a lot of growth. I mean, they love this spot here. Bright, indirect bright light, warm, like around again the mid 70s, and then lots of humidity. It did help that I put this sphagnum moss. I used fishing line, and look at that new roots, and new roots there, new leaves. So yeah, very happy about this plant, and yeah, just excited to see when it blooms and matures. Let me just take a short. Alright, I just plugged in my camera because it's just 1 bar left, and I'm kneeling at the time, so kind of hurting my knees. I'm 39 years old, and I realize I'm not getting any younger. Anyway, back to the plants here. So this is the Arangus hariotiana, also known as the Chaimangus hariotiana or Microterangus. I forgot. I think that's it. In Andy's Orchids, it's the Chaimangus, something like that. Chaemangis. But apparently, it's also part of the Arangus genus. What's nice about Orchids by Hauserman, they also include the other names of the plant. Basically, this one is different from the other 2 of the from the first 2 of the same genus. This has yellow leaf, no, not yellow leaves, yellow flowers, small yellow flowers, and came in this wood. I just tied this sphagnum moss and fishing line, and it offered the moisture they need. And again, I let it dry. I didn't put it directly on the plant. Same with the other 2. I actually redid one of this because the moss was actually on the rosette, or on the leaves, and or on the actual roots, and I don't want to cause root rot. And that's a good decision because they like it better this way. They want to get dry a bit. But basically, yeah, new growth, new leaves there, lots of new roots. So very happy. And I got all of this since they are seedlings and really small. They're like, at least I think the Rhodostica, this one, since I think this is more in demand, it's like $17 and the $17, and the rest is like $15 or even less. I forgot, I listed it, but don't have like the time to check. But still, less than $20, it was a steal. So I ordered like 6 plants from Hauserman. I have the unboxing, so please check that video out. It's in the channel. And then this is the Bulbophyllum Blumei. Let me check. Alright, this is, yeah, the Bulbophyllum Blumei. So this is the mother plant for, and that's the keiki. This came in a 4-inch mesh pot from Andes Orchids, very established, but this guy found its way out of that pot, that 4-inch pot, and I figured it's too far. How can I say this? So one of the things I researched about this plant is, since it gets out of its container, it gets dry, and some people lose their plants because it gets too dry and they die, and these plants die. So I decided to repot it. I used sphagnum moss and lava rock, which I lined this area here with lava rock. So my intention was to prevent the plant from growing out of the mesh pot. Obviously I failed, because now you can see there's actually 2 here that was able to get out of the mesh pot. So I think that's just how this plant behaves. It likes to just keep growing, and look at those roots. So I think it's happy though. I don't think it will dry out just like what the other orchid growers experience. It's because my humidity in here is controlled. So it's controlled, and it gets a lot of humidity. It's a free flowering plant, but never has bloomed for me. I guess the way Bulbophyllums do is that they just keep growing until they reach a certain point wherein they just have enough growth, they're established, they're mature, and they decide to just bloom. Maybe that's it, because that's what I saw online and read online. So cross my fingers, just let this guy grow. This has a lot of growth. I mean, these 2 are new, this one is new. I mean, look at all those roots here. It's even attached itself on the lava rock. Usually at first I placed this pot here. This is a 6-inch pot, so I moved it in a 6-inch pot. I transferred it in a 6-inch pot, and this plant I placed actually here, but it keeps getting out of the way, so I decided to place it there, and it seems to love it. So yeah, lots of new growth for this one, lots of new growth, so really nice. Right, so I'm moving on the left again. I hope I don't miss any plants, but these are the 3 plants, small Nepenthes that I bought from Pet Fly Trap. They're like at least at the most $20 plus, but they're small at the time, and they're pretty cheap. But now they're doing really well. So I've had this since April 29th, so nearing 2 months. This is the Nepenthes hookeriana. I actually wrote down the actual hybrid, and came in very small pictures, but now I have a leaf jump here and a new one growing, so that means I think they're happy, at least in my experience with Nepenthes, which I just started last year, so I think they're doing good. This one is the Nepenthes veitchii, Chanyana veitchii. I really like the look of the veitchii. However, they're highland growers, and here I can say my growth conditions here are intermediate. I think I'd be able to grow highlands here, not the ultra ones, but a veitchii and hamada. I might be able to do that in the future, but I talked in one of my videos that I want to focus on the species only and the non-hybrids, but I realized there's a reason why the hybrids are more vigorous, because they're able to share the genetics of both plants, different plants, and what the what the growers are doing right now, Carnivoro, Borneo Exotics, they're trying to get the more what they call more complicated or expert level Nepenthes. They try to hybridize it with the more vigorous and easy growing plants, and they produce not exactly the way the expert level plants are, but close to it or even better. And then it's great for beginners, it's great for hobbyists who don't have the actual conditions like the ultra highland, like the really cool drop of the temperature. It gives us the hobbyists a chance to have the plant that looks nearly the same or even better. So far this is an example. I think that Chanyana line of this one is giving this plant a more vigorous growth, because this is a new growth. Look at how big that is compared to when it arrived. It's just this small. So I have a leaf jump. It's very hairy plant, but excited to see the veitchii look, the candy cane look when this plant gets bigger. This is the Nepenthes Diana, which is a cross between Ampullaria, Cebuyanensis, and the Ventricosa. When I saw this plant, it's I guess less than $20, and then the mature pictures really look nice. And of course, it's a vigorous grower from the Ventricosa, line of this plant, or genetics of this plant. And then of course the Cebuyanensis is the big squat, not squat, it's a big picture. So really excited. I have a leaf jump and a new picture on the way. Look at this picture. So between the three, I would have to say this is the more beginner friendly, and it's producing more leaves and producing more pictures. And regarding again what I said about species, I might go for hybrids first. Eventually I might invest on the species only plants. This is the Restrepia Dodsonii. It's a vigorous flowering plant for me, but it is kind of stressed because I took a keiki and I actually replanted the keiki here. So I've got two plants now. I decided to just pot Restrepias now because they seem to like the damp, moist conditions consistently. This one, as you can see, it's got lots of roots, lots of growth, but it does get dry between waterings. So this is a moisture loving plant, not soggy, not overwatered, but it likes it moist. So I decided to get a part like a keiki and just planted it there, and this one is doing really well actually. Next is the Haraella odorata for other online nurseries or other hobbyists. It's called the Retrocalia odorata from Andy's Orchids. This one took a break for like 2 or 3 months. Yeah, 2 or 3 months it took a break, and now it's flowered again. One of the more popular miniature orchids. I mean, I'll show you guys how small it is. That's how small that guy is. And but it flowers consistently for me, and it's got a lot of growth, a lot of new leaves, not really a lot, just 1 or 2, and then new roots. It likes it moist, but also to get dry, and it likes a spot here because it's very humid. So yeah, Haraella odorata, give it a try. I mean, if you're into orchids and you want to try miniature orchids, you guys give this a look at Andy's Orchids, and it's like less than $15. I mean, you can buy 2 or 3, and it's also good in terrariums. This is another Masdevallia. This is the Nidifica, never flowered for me. It's in my it's included in my repotting video from wood to a pot. So I repotted it together with the Masdevallia, Wendlandiana, And yeah, so I've also noticed when it was mounted, it tends to get dry, and kind of like set it back. Not really set it back. It's just stopped growing well for me. So I repotted it, and I have a lot of new growth. I don't know if you can see there, but yeah, I have a lot of new growth. So this one is more of a cool loving Masdevallia compared to the Wendlandiana. So I place it down here, which again is around the low 70s. Okay, on this side here, so we're down here. This is the Stelis hertzii, one of the miniature orchids from Andy's Orchids, and the flowers are really small. This is also like less than $15. Really nice. I mean, lots of growth. It likes this spot here, lots of humidity. I don't think I need to repot this one. It gets lots of humidity down here. It's not as peaky as say the Nidifica or the Restrepius, but yeah, lots of new leaves. This guy has grown but has not flowered again for me. It has flowered once only. Oh, and this one is the Nepenthes Aristocoides Expectabilis Giant X Hamata. So I wanted a Hamata really bad. They're expensive, and I don't think at that time I'll be able to grow a Hamata in this setup. So I took a hybrid, and I've had this since December, and it's been 6 months now, and it's doing really well. Now, what I've read, so I've been reading a lot about Nepenthes, and what a lot of people say is that highland growers will do well when they're young, but eventually when they get mature or older, they might be more picky. But since this is a hybrid, I might be lucky enough to get it to adapt on these conditions. But this guy has grown well enough for me. It's really small when I got it, but now I've got this biggest picture. It's got leaf jumps, new leaf here, new picture growing here. So I'm very happy about this plant. I'm excited to see the mature picture, and hopefully it adapts and grows well even in an intermediate condition. Oh, my son's crying, so I'll be done in a bit, but my wife will go get him. So this is the Restrepia muscifera from Hauserman Orchids. I repotted it. It's on a, or it was in a, I think, yeah, in a plastic enclosed pot. So I decided to just put it in a sphagnum moss, perlite mix, and mesh pot. And it was in a orchid bark at that time. This guy is a very good grower, and just like Restrepius, it flowers really well. What's unique about the flower is it's behind the leaves. But the reason I wasn't able to do a video is because when I checked the flower, which is a blessing in disguise, I guess, there was it scale? I forgot. Yeah, it's the fuzzy white pest behind the leaves, and for some of the leaves I cut it off. I cut off the flowers and cleaned it really well with alcohol, and it never came back. That's one thing. And I'm not trying to give Hauserman a bad name, but I think it came with that flower because that's with this orchid, because that's the only orchid that was affected, and none of these plants are Andes orchids. I never had any issues with pests, but this is one thing I've read and also watched with Cloud Force vibes, because he had an issue wherein there's like these brown beetles with disorder from Hauserman. The thing is, you cannot really 100% get rid of pests. Of course, there's a difference between a pest-ridden plant that was sent to you, or maybe there are just a few that came with it and eventually grew out. But I think it's not an established pest at the time, because I was able to find it, control it, and none of the plants was affected again. So I think Hauserman, they're doing their thing. They're cleaning their plants or like getting rid of pests, but every once in a while, one or two might be able to escape. But this is a very good grower, and if you guys ask me, will I order from Hauserman again? I will definitely still buy from them because they have a good selection. Their prices are cheap. You just need to check, and again, you can never have 100% clear from past. I mean, even here, I might, you know, there will come a time, and you just need to be observant and make sure that you're able to deal with it real fast. So I wasn't able to do a video. I got rid of the flowers because the weird thing about this plant is the flowers are behind the leaves. Like literally, this is a new leaf, the flowers will be behind it. So at first I didn't even notice the flowers. So I'm looking forward. I mean, this is a new leaf, this is a new leaf, this is a new leaf, like lots of new leaves, and it's growing really well after that incident. And this is like a leaf jump for it. It's a huge leaf. So hopefully I get flowers, because Restrepias flowers non-stop, and I'll show you which one that has grown really well and bloom for me non-stop. And this is right now one of my best viewed videos when I did the unboxing and repot of this Bicalcaratas from Carnivoro. I had this this month on the 4th, and so far I would say they're doing really well. There's a note in that order that they need to be bagged, acclimatized. I didn't, because it's like this tent is already like in a bag and lots of humidity. I think they're getting there. They're adapting now because there's a new leaf growing. So hopefully it goes through. This plant came with, oh, I think I have a new one. Oh no, that's not a new one. I'm sorry. I didn't focus well, but yeah. So I thought I only have 2, but I have actually 3 pictures, but I don't think this is a new one. But yeah. This is doing well. This is the Nepenthes Bicalcarata Red Flush, and then this is the Brunei Orange, and as you can see, it's also getting a new leaf. This one came in with more pictures, so they're doing great. So from what I've read, I researched, and then from what everyone is saying, they need temperatures above 80s. But again, this spot here may be around 75 to 80, but lots of humidity, and I think it's able to adapt. So I'll do another update once it may be in a month or 2, so people will see if they're able to adapt, and maybe if you guys want to have a chance with buy Bicalcarata, then you know you'll be able to find out if I'm successful with them. This is the Pluralitalis ornata from Andes Orchids, and it came in this wood with lots of moss and also a fern, which is a bonus. This is very floriferous. That's a term I just learned, which means it flowers a lot. But the flowers, okay, so they just dropped. But it's really nice. They have weird looking flowers. It's got, like, I call it tendrils. It's alien looking. You can check the you can check the video of the Pluralitalis ornata in this channel, and I have a close-up, and they look really cool. That's why I bought this plant, but I never thought that it would be flowering all the time. But yeah, you can see the spikes. The spikes here, it just fell off. So just check out that video, and it would be it's nice, and they're not expensive, like $25 or less. And this orchid has a sale right now of 20% on all plants, but I'm focusing on the Nepenthes right now. This is another Pluralitalis. This is the Pluralitalis Triptoranta, another one that's considered as free flowering but has never flowered for me. As you can see here, there's some dry moss on top. I place it there, just put it in between the leaves, and came in with a lot of very established with lots of moss. But you can see here lots of new growth, lots of roots. Those are new roots. That's new growth. There's another one on its way. So, oh sorry, that's a new one. So yeah, lots of new growth for this plant, and I'm hoping that it blooms soon for me. Next one would be the Dendrobium tanii, another Dendrobium that's considered by Andes Orchid as free flowering but has never flowered for me. So far though, it's having a lot of new growth for me. So this is the new growth here. This is the new growth. This is an old one. Lots of new roots here. And yeah, I put just a top dressing of sphagnum moss. It's bit. I place it a bit up there, and it got burnt by too much light. I mean, it looks cool, like it's that purplish color, but yeah, I moved it down here, and I think so far it looks happy. But yeah, has not flowered for me, so I'll see. It's not a deciduous one, but still needs a bit of a winter rest in terms of watering. This is the Bulbophyllum Bailey. Let's see here. Yeah, Bulbophyllum Bailey. I'm sorry, I'm sitting here. So yeah, Bulbophyllum Bailey. I don't know why I bought it. At the time, it has really nice flowers, and I didn't realize it's not a miniature, so it's big paddle-like leaves. Not flowered for me yet. It has a long extension, like it grew all the way down here. I need to cut it off and just tie it down on this spot here. But this part here has new growth. So new growth on that part here. So very excited. And then of course I have more bromeliads. Really nice color because it's really bright, and they love the moisture from the sphagnum moss. This one has a pup, which is great. I think this is a really miniature bromeliad, but yeah. And did I miss anything? Okay, so down here would be the more, this is the Restrepia falkenbergii, which never stopped flowering for me. It was in a 2-inch pot, clay pot, and or terracotta pot, and I moved it here in the 6-inch mesh pot, which at first I thought was overkill, but now it has just keep growing. Lots of new leaves, lots of new growth. And from what I read online, there was this grower who said that if you give it more room to grow, it will just keep growing, it will just keep on flowering. And this is one of the blooms. Very, very beautiful. Okay, let me see if I can get a better look. Alright. Sorry guys. But what I'll do is I'll find one of those oh, there you go. There. So yeah, very nice bloom. One thing about Restrepias is in general their flowers look the same. The same shape, 3 antennae, looks the same. The only difference are the colors. And there's a lot in my wish list right now, but again, I'm focusing on Nepenthes. But yeah, I'm just waiting for a really good sale, and hopefully to add more in my collection. But this is a very good grower. This is the Pluritalis Rowlei, which is kind of weird. It feels like, for me, it looks like grass, but very, very good grower. Came in a small pot also. I just transferred it in the 6-inch pot, and it just has grown. That's why it's even down here, because it will take a lot of room in the up here. So I just put it down here, and I cannot hook it there because it will take a lot of room. So I can just put other plants there. So it's also free flowering throughout the year. And what's really nice, and this is the first time I found out about this kind of orchids, it grows, it blooms through here. So you can see a spike here, so the flowers will pop out here, which is really nice. Same thing with this one here, it got several, but unfortunately I don't have new ones, but I think there'll be more on the way, because wait, let's see here. There you go. So there are spikes on the way. So it looks nice because all these leaves, once they grow more new leaves, they'll be having more blooms at the same time. So excited about that. And this is an affordable orchid. And then of course I have my jewel orchids, the Lutetia discolor. I did an up repotting. This is the mother plant. I did cuttings, and look at how fast it has grown already. I'm excited about this because they will flower around fall, and They have nice flowers. They're more known for their foliage, but I really like the flowers. This guy is very easy. I think I bought it for $15 at the nursery. Really expensive online, but it was really small. But since I put it here, it never stopped growing. I water it maybe every 3 weeks, but the soil is always damp. And I think it really likes it. It doesn't want to get dry, but it doesn't want it to be soggy. But it's always damp because down here humidity is really high. And then when I water the other plants, it gets watered at the same time, but not as much as, let's say, you do it in a like in a setting not found like in a grow tent. So if you do it in a windowsill or something, then you might need to water it more. But so far this has run really well, and this is one of the cuttings which surprisingly has a spike on the way. So maybe it's one of those mature cuttings, and I really don't know, because from what I've read, it only flowers around fall up to like January or February. But I have this cutting is really nice, and now I will have a bloom soon, so that's really cool. So yeah, Creeping Charlie, Pilea Numberfolia. Then this is the aluminum plant, also a Pilea. And this one, I did a video about this, a Philodendron melanochrysum. I won this plant in a bid over at eBay. I thought I won't win the bid, but it's $15.50, and it's a small cutting. That's just the size. It's small, it's expensive, no roots at all. But I don't want to disturb it anymore, but I've got roots already, so I'm very excited that I'll be able to grow this plant. I think you'll be able to see, no, but there's roots already. There's 2 on the way, and I think a part is growing here on the nodes, so I don't want to disturb it too much, because this plant in Carnivoro is like around $60, at eBay around 60 to 80, and this cutting is like with shipping is around $20. So if I'm able to grow this, maybe get some cuttings to grow and maybe sell it, I'd be able to get back what I've spent on this one. But this is a very risky move, one of those impulse things, and honestly, when I did the bid, I thought someone will bid me from it, but they did not. I mean, I guess they think who's dumb enough to bid too much for a cutting, like it's $15.50. But it came in, I did unboxing, you can watch it, guys, and I think cross my fingers, I think I'll be able to grow this plant eventually. And then of course Wandering Jew, I just throw them down there. Someone's calling me. But yeah, Wandering Jew, some pothos. So water accumulates down here when I water the plants, and I guess it evaporates, but also is able to hydrate some of these plants. Okay, this is a long video, I'm sorry guys, but the last, okay, I'll pardon the phone, but the last is this, what we call in the Philippines as alupati. I forgot what it's called in English, but it just grew all the way up here and then here, but I think it's a bit root bound or something's wrong, because some of the leaves are dying down here. But I'm just waiting for the seeds to mature, and then I'll collect it and plant more. Alright, so I think I've covered everything. Okay, so yeah, the plants up here, sorry for the brightness. Pothos, Wandering Jew, another pothos. That one and this one are in water, the rest are in soil. I just put them there to offer some shade to the plants underneath, because it's really bright and warm, but there's a little bit of growth, and they're stressed, but they're easy plants, cheap plants, so I just let them stay there, and they add a bit of color anyways. So yeah. Alright, so I'm a bit tired from this update. I didn't realize that I have so much plants at this point since I started this hobby. I mean, I'm doing plants before. I had orchids in the Philippines, but it's just outside. I grow them out, I put them on trees, that's it. But this is a different level of hobby for me now, because I'm able to get plants that I never thought even existed. Vestrepias, Pleurothales, Masdevallias, I don't know those plants. Arengus, I never known them before. Nepenthes, I had a ventricles, I guess before, that was poached from the wild in the Philippines, but it died because eventually I ran out of rainwater and I just used tap water at the time. I didn't realize that. But now I have the opportunity. We were able to buy a house. I have enough room, and of course I saved up for this hobby, and now it's very rewarding. And I love this tent because I have complete control over temperature, humidity, and all other stuff to grow these plants. And eventually I need a bigger tent for the Nepenthes, because these guys will grow bigger. And yeah, thank you again, 101 subscribers. That's amazing, really amazing, because there are people who wants to see how I do things. It's because that's how I learned, that's how I got into the hobby. I mean, it's like 6-7 years I've been lurking on YouTube, lurking on forums, reading, researching. I mean, if you guys find out what I planned before, it's ridiculous. Eventually I realized what's practical, what's gonna save me money, time, especially time, because before, like, I was thinking about setting up a lot of aquariums, a lot of plants, but I realized having kids, having a part-time job, at least part-time right now, and of course budget, it's more reasonable to have a setup like this. And I love it because at like 3, 4, maybe even 5 years ago, there's a couple of people or hobbyists who uses grow tents. Mostly they have their own greenhouse, they have their window sills, but since I found out about these plants, I need something that will save me a lot of time, where I don't need to mist them every day, I don't need to water them every day to keep the humidity up. And then I found out, I watched a video and about a grow tent from a cannabis grower, and said, why not a grow tent? And I searched online, and I found 2 people only at the time using grow tents, and they're using it on orchids and another one with Nepenthes. And since then I've been planning, saving up for this setup, and eventually found this triangular grow tent with a huge viewing window, and that's it for me. You know, I was able to set it up. Actually, I was able to set up real quick, and 5 to 8 years of reading and researching, I was pretty sure at that point, I'm pretty sure I know what I'm doing. You know, I'm no expert again, but at that time, with the hundreds of videos I've watched, the hundreds of forums I've read, all the possibilities, all the mistakes of other people that they've shared, eventually made me more knowledgeable in setting this up, and was, you know, the reason of my success. And that's why I'm also doing this channel, is because of that. I mean, there are videos that I watch not because I want what they're doing, it's because I might learn something. And literally I learned something, one to two things I've learned on that video that the YouTuber didn't even talk about, but because I saw it, because I saw what they're doing, I incorporated it in my setup. So I hope it's the same thing for all that's watching this video. You know, there's something that I might not have talked about, but you saw, and hopefully help you in your hobby. Shoot a question. There's some problems in YouTube, sometimes some questions or some comments that I can see, but they say there's a comment. So yeah, I'll do my best to answer. I mean, it's not a big channel, so I can see the questions and the comments, and I'll try to answer them the best I can. So I appreciate again the subscriptions, the likes, and also the fact that you guys have subscribed, because I don't have the best looking videos. I'm doing it on the fly. I have kids, you can hear them in the background, and I try to do as much as I can in a small time frame. So I'm glad I was able to do this update, this summer update, and I'll do the other video on the other tent, which is just the Nepenthes, the big boy Nepenthes, the big boys as I call them. So yeah, thank you, and have a good one.